These are real simple things to install. All scrubbers are really. We give you a brass, no lead garden hose fitting on the front. You can attach a garden hose right to it. You can also remove this brass. These are 3/4 inch NPT housings. So if you remove this brass, you're welcome to plumb it up with Schedule 80 PVC. You can also use our cool Quick Connect CTS fittings, and you could plumb it up with Schedule 80, which is a really great way to plumb these units up. Here's 3/4 Schedule 80. You can also use these great Quick Connect CTS fittings. So then here's a 3/4 to 1 inch. Let me unlock it here. And these are great. Screw these fittings in, insert your tubing, lock it, and you're good to go. I love this Quick Connect CTS stuff. I use tons of it all the time. One of my favorite things to do. So there's other options besides garden hose hookup. A lot of people love the garden hose though. On the output is a flow restrictor, and it has 3/8 tubing on it. So you're welcome to use the garden hose connector here. You take a small piece of 3/8 tubing, plumb it in here, or a long piece, it's up to you. Then plug the 3/8 garden hose connector into it, and then you can put a hose on the end of this, a garden hose. So you can have garden hose in, garden hose out. We actually sell them this way because people request it most often this way. So another way to hook this up is you could have garden hose in, and then you might want to fill a tank. And you can go 3/8 tubing over to a tank. If you're going to use it in a tank, you're probably going to use it with a float valve. On a Lil BOSS and a Lil BOSS Deluxe, because they're such high flow units, 3 gallons a minute, you don't want to use these little hot dog float valves. You see these all over the place. You see them in hydro stores and gardening centers. These only flow about 1 gallon a minute tops. So if you put one on here, you're going to slow the flow rate down of this unit. So don't use one of these hot dog float valves for a Lil BOSS or Lil BOSS Deluxe. It's much preferred to use a commercial size or a light commercial size float valve like these. Here's a 3/4 inch float valve right here. Plenty of flow right through it. This can flow about 20-25 gallons a minute. Stainless steel rod and a really huge float ball here. This is the perfect unit for a Lil BOSS or Lil BOSS Deluxe. These rods come in a lot of different sizes too, to fit different width tanks. And you can also use this, one of my favorite valves, this commercial, I call it a cowbell valve. And these get installed with 1 inch PVC straight down from the top of a tank or off the side. If you bulkhead it in the side of the top of a tank, you can come in like that as well. It's really cool. And these shut off by the water pushing up on a rubber diaphragm from the bottom. So these flow a ton of water. These are my favorite valves. So these are the float valves to use if you're going to hook it up with tubing to a tank. With the input plumbing plumbed in and the output plumbing plumbed, all you need to do is turn on the water supply slowly when you're initially starting these up with brand new filters. The carbon filter, if it's a KDF 85 carbon filter, will have a lot of air pockets in it. And so turning the water pressure on slowly, so purge all the air out of the filters. And once the air bubbles stop coming out of the output fitting, you'll see it spitting. And once it stops and you get a nice clean stream, you can turn the water pressure up full and you're ready to go. And that's just about it. If you have a KDF carbon filter in here, you're going to want to flush it for about 20 gallons. Those carbon filters are really dusty. If you have a KDF carbon filter in here, which looks like this, you're going to want to flush it for about 20 gallons of water. These are really dusty. It's a thick, thick bed of highly activated catalytic carbon and then a bed of KDF 85 media at the bottom. An initial startup on these carbon filters, there's going to be some dusty, wet carbon coming out. So I would flush it for about 20 gallons, 30 gallons, and then the water is usable.